For 3 years, nothing happened. No promotion. No flashy title change. No announcement post. No sudden leap forward that people could point to and say, that's when it all changed. From the outside, my career looked stalled. I showed up. I did the work. I went home, again and again and again. People I started with moved on faster. Some left, some climbed. Some pivoted into roles that sounded more impressive when they talked about them at dinners and reunions. And every now and then, someone would ask, so, what's next for you? I never had a clean answer, because it felt like nothing was happening. But here's what was actually happening quietly, invisibly, without applause. I was learning how to finish things even when no one was watching. I was learning how to deal with difficult people without becoming one. I was learning how to explain complex ideas simply. I was learning how to recover from mistakes without spiraling. I was learning how to sit with uncertainty instead of running from it. I was building judgment. At the time, it felt boring, frustrating, almost embarrassing. There were days I questioned my own ambition. Days I wondered if I was wasting time. Days I thought, if I were really talented, this wouldn't take so long. What I didn't realize was that I was accumulating something far more valuable than a title. I was accumulating trust. People started coming to me, not because they had to, but because they wanted clarity. Problems landed on my desk that didn't have obvious solutions. I became the person who could be dropped into messy situations and make sense of them. No announcement, no reward. Just more responsibility. Have you ever felt stuck in your career? Like you're putting in the hours, doing all the right things, but nothing seems to be happening. I know that feeling all too well. For 3 solid years, my career felt like it was on pause. No promotion, no fancy new title, no big announcement or sudden leap forward that I could point to and say, that's when it all changed. It was just quiet, and honestly, it was incredibly frustrating. I'd look around and see colleagues getting promotions, moving to new departments, celebrating big wins. And there I was, still in the same spot, doing the same work. I started to question everything. Was I not good enough? Did I make a wrong turn somewhere? Was I invisible? It's a lonely place to be, feeling like you're running in place while everyone else is sprinting ahead. During that time, the silence was deafening. My friends and family would ask, so, what's new at work? And I'd have to say, oh, same old. It felt like a confession of failure. The temptation to just give up, to coast, or to jump ship to a completely different company was huge. I polished my resume more times than I can count. I scrolled through job boards endlessly, thinking maybe a fresh start was the answer. But something held me back. Deep down, I knew that just changing my environment would unfix the core issue if I didn't understand what was really going on. Was it me? Was it the company? Was it just bad luck? I felt a mix of anxiety, jealousy, and a whole lot of self-doubt. So, instead of making a rash decision, I decided to do something different. I decided to stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward. I treated those 3 years not as a period of stagnation, but as a secret training ground. My own personal Rocky montage, just without the cool theme music. I started focusing on the small things, the invisible skills. I learned how to communicate more effectively, not just by talking more, but by listening better. I took on the small, unglamorous projects, but no one else wanted. The ones that wouldn't get me a pat on the back, but would teach me a new piece of the business. I built relationships with people in different departments, not because I wanted something from them, but because I was genuinely curious about what they did. I spent hours after work learning new software, reading books on leadership and strategy, and just getting better at my craft, piece by piece. There were no certificates to hang on the wall, no grand announcements. It was quiet, diligent, and often thankless work. I was building my foundation, brick by boring brick. And you know what? It was during this quiet period that I truly discovered what I was capable of. I wasn't just doing my job anymore, I was mastering it. I was becoming an expert, not because of a title, but because of the deep knowledge and skills I was accumulating day after day. The silence that once felt like a punishment started to feel like an opportunity. An opportunity to grow without the pressure of an audience. And then, almost anticlimactically, things started to shift. It wasn't a sudden explosion. It was more like a slow tide turning. A senior manager asked for my opinion in a high-level meeting. A different department asked me to consult on a project because they heard I was the go-to person for a specific issue. Little opportunities started popping up, not because I asked for them, but because the foundation I had built was finally strong enough to be noticed. The promotion, when it finally came, didn't feel like a sudden victory. It felt like a natural, inevitable next step. It was the result of those 3 years of silent, consistent effort. So if you're in that quiet phase right now, feeling frustrated and overlooked, please don't despair. You're not stuck. You're in your secret training ground. Use this time. Build your skills, deepen your knowledge, and become so good they can't ignore you. The quiet years are where the real work is done. They are what will set you up for everything that comes next. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights.